martyrdom. Fight on!
Yo everyone, what up? Welcome back to Top Tier Arcade. My name is Steve, and we're back in the apartment because in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Hobbit Pinball Smaug Edition LE, and it's going to be part 4, which is the memories. Now I know what you're all thinking. Number one, how in the hell do you have memories of a game that's a year and a half old? I get it. The reason being is, one, there's a significance to why I do the memories, and a lot of it is, if you're new to my channel, it's the reasoning why it's in my collection and why I consider all the games I get grails. I know that word's thrown around often, but I'll explain it in momentarily. And number two, the continuity of my videos, because I always do a memories of of the game. Now again, a memory can be like this, whether it's 100 years old or 1 minute old. A memory is a memory, and to be honest, this is the real reason I wanted this game. And even though it's a very early memory, it's the reason why I wanted to do this video. So let's get to it. Before we get that, as customary, I'm going to be smoking a cigar. Now, full disclosure, I actually deleted, I recorded a video and I deleted it to redo it because I was actually going to smoke a pipe, my tobacco pipe. And I kept had to relight it because the tobacco, loose tobacco, is very dry. And I kept, knocking it out, that it was too distracting, and the video was like a half an hour and I didn't even finish. And I'm like, forget it, we'll do that another time where I have the proper tobacco and a better table to set it on. So I'm going to be smoking a Cohiba Esplendido in this video, a very expensive cigar for a very expensive machine. Number two, I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, he's going to smoke beside a pinball machine, an expensive one by that? Absolutely, yes I am. Not only, but I have a gentleman jack that's going to accompany me. So I've just poured myself that. So let's go ahead and cut this. And let's get right to the reason. Now this is the unclassiest shit. Because normally I have my ashtray, but I didn't want to put it in my lap here and for it to fall over. I'd rather this crappy mug break. Very not like me. Usually I'm pretty, as far as lighting it and whatever else, I'm pretty to the, I'm pretty a little strict because I want the proper etiquette, but whatever. So, I've shot this video like 3 times. So let's get going. Alright. I broke the match. Usually I toast the first. I'll explain in a second. Normally I toast a foot before I light it, which is usually a better thing to do. You first kind of toast it and char the foot. This is the foot of the cigar. And then you use a second or third match to light it in perfect circumference. That's why I go round and round. But for the length of the video, I don't want to. So let's get right to it. I'm already taking up too much time. What happened? So, a Hobbit. Oh yeah. If you guys haven't had a smoke, it's a Cuban cigar. They're not necessarily the best. People ask me all the time, what's your favorite cigar? Cuban? Not at all. Actually, Nicaragua and Honduras is pulling up some cigars that you wouldn't believe. Dominican Republic's doing very well. Some Mexican cigars are okay. Even Brazilian and Canary Islands, but it's a whole different subject. But yeah, today I'm going to be smoking a Cuban. So far, so good. So let's get to it. Why The Hobbit? Why do you have memories? Why did I buy this game? How did it come to be? So, here it comes. In 2014, I launched Top Tier Arcade, my arcade channel that your YouTube channel that you're watching now. Before that, in 2012, when I started collecting, I wrote down a preliminary arcade list of what I wanted, both arcades and vids. Yes, even back then. I always wanted vid as pins. I always wanted as part of the collection and the entire arcade, the variety and the versatility, and I just loved pinball, and I always have. But I wanted to focus on arcades because I knew they were cheaper, and I knew that I wanted to get a few that kind of took them off the list, per se. When I started to come down that list, there's a few games that were on my list as pins. I was throwing around a few ideas based on theme and what I remember when I was a kid. The Getaway, High Speed 2 was one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, maybe Jurassic Park. Lord of the Rings was a yes. Robo War that I've seen online. I saw the gameplay. I loved the music. And that was it. I ran around 3 or 4, and that was going to be my it. Now, as I progressed in the hobby and I learned about it more and more, and I do every day, believe it or not, I study pinball, I study arcades, what should I get, how to fix it in the future, how much the going rate is. I had around 4 or 5 pins in my collection, and on to be collected. And when I saw that Jersey Jack was a newer company, and Wizard of Oz looked night and day towards whatever Stern was putting out, I'm like, wow, these guys are really good. Ooh, that's smooth. Now, Wizard of Oz has never been a dream theme of mine, but my wife and I really actually liked the game a lot. Like when we were kind of like going to these places and playing pinball, and the new one was Wizard of Oz, we really liked it. And I'm like, wow, you know, these companies, hopefully they do well. And then comes the Hobbit announcement, and I was ecstatic. I'm like, oh my God, the Hobbit. And they showed preliminary pictures of the playfield looks like, and some game elements and design. Now, being, and I'm still not a pinball guy, from last year and even the year before, leaps and bounds of what I know and what I understand and how to play and everything else. And I'm like, oh man, this playfield looks weak. It looks stupid. If you ever Google the Hobbit playfield, you'll see the one that you see in the one that was released, and you'll see one with like a very blue sky, and you'll see a little picture of the dragon that looks similar to the map, the dragon, and where it's on the actual map of Middle Earth. And it looked a little lame. I'm like, yo, this kind of looks weak and like shit. And a lot of people that were playing it at like Papa or Pinfest or whatever else were saying this game's very weak. It's not that good. And I'm like, uh-oh, not good. So people started pulling their deposits. And I remember reading this. This is not too long ago. And I'm like, yo, this is not going to look good. A lot of people are saying it's, you know, like chopping wood, as all my guys say. And it's very boring. And, you know, it doesn't seem there's a lot going on. It's very floaty. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? So obviously I haven't tried it yet. And I kept it in the back of my mind because the amount of money that the Hobbit was, I'm like, well, Wizard of Oz was, I'm like, Hobbit's going to be the same or more. So I'm like, how about this? I said to myself, Steve, put it in your back burner. You're not going to get it until you get a house and you know, have a lot more funds. And I'm like, okay, fair. So I let it go. Then the game came out, seeing it, you know, I'm like, okay, whatever. I ended up going to one of the distributors and I played it briefly. And I didn't like it. I didn't. I played it for 20 minutes. My wife played it. She's like, Steve, it's floaty. It's kind of boring. But now keep in mind, I'm a huge Tolkien fan. Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, the movies, the books, Silmarillion, like all the appendices, everything, all of that, the backstory and everything else I've read and I loved for so many years. And the thing is, I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't really like the game. So I'm like, I'll leave it. Then comes the Pinball Hall of Fame last year. And if you guys haven't seen the video, check it out. Where I actually play the Hobbit for at least a good half hour, my wife and I. And it was a lot better. It was dialed in. It was cleaned. It had the new code update. And I really started to like it. My wife wasn't convinced, and I'm like, okay, it's promising, it's looking good. So already there's potential. Maybe a new code update fixes a lot of game elements and habits. We'll see. On the back burner still, a lot of money. Fast forward 6-7 months later, Ed Robertson, who I bought the game from, lead singer of Bare Naked Ladies, was kind enough to invite a couple of our pinball guys, including myself, to his home. He's like, hey guys, come over, we'll hang out and play pinball. Great night, a lot of good friends, in our community, in our group, having a great time. Hearing it from younger generation, people that are older, people that have fixed the pins, people that have been into pinball for 15, 20 years. And they're like, Steve, look, the game's all right, but for the money, it's not worth it. There's a lot better for the money. Don't buy it. So I'm like, all right, wait. I'm like, let me just play it on my own regard. Let me just go in with a clean slate, an optimistic and clear view of why people say they don't like the game. Now, keep in mind, I'm still a novice. So sometimes it's almost like, some popcorn movie that lacks substance is great, but later as you grow, you're like, this is dumb. Like, the script is terrible, the acting. So I'm thinking it's like one of those. It's all flash, whatever. So I'm like, okay, let's take a clear slate. You judge by yourself. People weren't playing it here and there. They did, but it was open. And I pressed start. I plunged. And from the second I plunged until I was finished, and I did pretty good. Hit Smaug multi-ball, got into, the first round of the multi-ball, into the fire, which is one of the wizard modes. I'm like, oh my God. I was so engulfed in this game. People could have been on fire around me. And I know it sounds like an exaggeration, but hear me out. I was so in tune with the game and so intrigued of the theme that I love. I know the movies, I've read the book both multiple times. I loved it. I fell in love with it in Ed's basement. Steve, how do you like it? He asked me. I love it. You serious? Yeah, yo. It's dope. Okay, try this mode. Try to hit that. He's teaching me the game, what he's got. He's like, a lot of the guys were playing saying, okay, it's better than what I first suspected. So when people first play the game, it's whack. Once you start getting into it a little, I really think it grows on you. Now, I'm not comparing TZ or Twilight Zone to this. I know it's a huge differential. But what I'm saying is the amount of modes that you hit when you complete the satisfying shots, the interaction with the LCD screen is awesome. The music, the lights, everything, the shaker, everything. I got into it. I loved it. I put the headphone jack in, and that's a running joke within our group that, I love games with headphones because it really, you get absorbed by the call-outs, the music, and everything else. If you haven't had a chance to get the mod, plug it in. It's actually really cool, especially when people around you don't want to hear it. You can focus on the game. So I had the headphones in. I was in my own zone. I was in my own world. I was totally immersed with this game, and I fell in love. Look at this burn. Beautiful burn. Perfect, even, no canoeing, smooth. Man. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I decided then, and I text my wife or messenger, I'm like, yo, Mary, we're getting the Hobbit whether you like it. Well, mind you, she doesn't have a choice. If I'm getting it, I'm getting it. But I'm like, it's the definitive answer. I'm getting it, yes. She's like, are you serious? It's that good? When we played it was kind of little, whatever. I'm like, no. It's amazing. Because since then, a new code update 2.0 came out. And apparently there's going to be another one coming out, hopefully in the near future. And I loved it. I loved it. I fell in love with it. I'm like, that's it. I was, you know what the thing is? Beyond anything else, I brought it down to the most basic of feelings. I was having fun. I was having a blast. I was actually excited. I was smiling. The world around us, shootings, bombings, terrorists, work, relationship, friends, all that horse shit was gone. Was gone. It was like I was part of Middle Earth. A little lame, I know it's exaggerated, but what a good hobby does, whether it's smoking, playing Xbox or PS4, doing your hobby, whatever, if it's arcades or something else, your world becomes narrow. And in a world where an 8-year-old with a smartphone has the same opinion as a billionaire, think of that for a second. An 8-year-old with a smartphone has the same opinion as an educated, not to say an 8-year-old isn't educated, but think of the worldly experience you grow as an adult. An 8-year-old, same opinion as a billionaire, an educated person, a politician. I know that's an exaggeration. What I mean to say is, everyone's so connected these days, which is good and bad. It's a good time to disconnect from the world because it's so overwhelming. You can never escape the news. You can never escape what's going on because now social media is the new news because everyone, like I said, has an opinion, and often opinion turns into fact, which is scary. Think of what you're reading in the news today. Allegations, racial, sexual, abusive, are allegations. And because so many people are for it or against it, it becomes fact, which is scary. Because my understanding is you are innocent and still proven guilty. But it turns out that you're really not if the majority think of that, which is a scary premise. The reason I'm getting so deep is this. We all have hobbies and we all have things we love. And we'll just say pinball is one of them. Obviously it is in the arcade scene and hobby in cigars. I brought it down and I made the realization and I thought to myself, Steve, why do you collect arcade machines? Why do you collect pinball machines? Why do you smoke cigars? Why do you drink fine alcohol? Enjoyment, satisfaction, and relaxation. And it satisfied all those. If you haven't played The Hobbit, you might think, Steve, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to shoot for. There's a lot going on. Like I said in my game review, part 3, the last one, it's overwhelming. But when you slow it down and take it and itemize it and compartmentalize to say, here's the mode, here's how I'm going to have to do it in the shots needed to do that. You appreciate the technology that goes into it, the LCD, the lights, everything. I love it. It's awesome. That's why I decided not only am I getting it, but it's going to definitely be a grail, and I hate using that word, in my collection. I have a list of what I want. I have a drawing of what I want. I've scratched this one out in a sense or highlighted that I've got it. It's going to be part of the collection, and one day when I get Lord of the Rings to complete the series or complete the journey, I'll put Lord of the Rings either to the left of it or to the right, which I've been debating for about over a year. Now, that's first world problems. I know that. Do I put Hobbit on the left because the movies came out first, and then so it's Hobbit and Lord of the Rings? Or do I do, because the book came out first, or do I do Lord of the Rings because the movies came out first and it's a Stern game from what, 2002 or something? And then do The Hobbit. So I don't know. I guess when I get it, I'm going to have to put them beside each other. Right now I'm thinking, well, every time I say that I have a difference of opinion. Normally I want to do Hobbit, Lord of the Rings. But sometimes I say it's better to do Lord of the Rings because the movie came out first, the game came out first, and it has less flashy things. And it's better to have an upswing to say less flashy to flashy than flashy to non-flashy, even though if I put LEDs and whatever else. I don't know. First world problems, believe me, someone out there has serious issues and we're talking about this nonsense. But it's nonsense that I wanted to share with you. So I don't want to be overwhelmed with talking about the same thing. I don't want to bore you. I'm having a great time. Play pinball machines. Smoking cigars, having a nice stiff drink, and that's the reason The Hobbit is in my collection. Every time now, again, it's pretty much done. I'm gonna be like I said, there's the toys that I have, the figures I'm gonna put on it that are not gonna be very intrusive or very eye-soring. I'm gonna put the when I get it the blades, and then later the topper, and then light the buttons, and that's it. That's all it's going to be. I want to leave it more as I progress, you know, and I think of the hobby, the less I want to mod things. It has to be a tasteful mod, and if it's not really supposed to be there, it doesn't add anything, I'm not going to add it. Which I'm going to reconsider my Ninja Turtles when I'm thinking of what I'm going to add to the playfield and all the toys. I might scale back. But you know what, guys? Look, that's the reason it's in the game. That's the reason I have memories of it. And obviously, I got the game early because, like I said, on my pickup, Ed was ready to get rid of it. He gave me a bro price. He goes, Steve, I know you want it. I know you fell in love with it in my basement. I'll give you a great price. Yes or no? Let me know. And I'm like, Ed, yes. So obviously, if you want to check that, you can see part 1. And I'm proud to have it. Friends of mine that have come to play it here and there love it. My wife really likes it. She has a great time with it. She can't wait for us to be in a bigger space in a home so we can kind of display it and not kind of be cramped with all these, you know, blankets over it and it looks ghetto. And that's pretty much it. So the next part, we're going to be doing part 5, which is the gameplay. I'm going to have a little fun. I'm going to take the glass off and, you know, record me playing. Hopefully I can, you know, show you guys a few modes like I reviewed in part 3 in the game review, and just play the game and end off the series. And I really never thought I'd have this game. Like I thought when we went, I think in Ed's in May, I think it was April, I wouldn't have the game for probably 2 years, maybe 3. And within 7 months, 6-7 months, it's right behind me. So how things change. You know what's funny? Every time I say, oh, I'm never going to get it. Never going to get it. No, I'm going to wait. It usually, fate comes in and says it's available. Opportunity knocks. You take advantage. It was great. Ed was happy to sell it. He was comfortable with the price. I was happy to buy it. I'm going to just pay him off shortly and we're done. So guys, look, it's been a pleasure. If you haven't had a chance, please subscribe. I'm going to be coming out with more videos, like I said, part 5 and game room reviews and tours and everything else. Like it if you like it, and comment if you wish. And I hope you enjoyed the video. All the best and thanks for checking out Top Tier yet again. Peace.